think it should be the older Drago. I enjoyed playing him old, you know.
Oh yeah.
And the director Stephen Caple, who directed Creed 2, is a really smart guy, and he, you know, and I think somebody like him could sort of take it to another level. Why not?
Teamed up with Old Spice to run with the all-new Old Spice Sweat Defense Dry Spray and Antiperspirants, and there are a set of commercials where a deepfake of you is included. So I wanted to ask you this first. How did this whole partnership come about?
Well, they came to me with this idea and to create like a young version of myself from the 80s, like to make it kind of an action movie spoof.
Yeah.
And I thought it sounded funny, you know. I used Old Spice anyway, just been, you know, using it for a while. My dad used to use it, so I used the deodorant anyway. So I thought, yeah, why not? And then I thought the spots turned out pretty funny and different, you know, and it's the era you kind of see yourself as a young man.
Yeah, that was going to ask you next is, what was your reaction when you first saw a younger deepfake version of yourself?
Well, I thought he needed more muscles, you know.
Right, of course.
So I was arguing about that. And then, yeah, the face. It was, yeah, it took some work to get it to look a bit more like me. But I think what we decided was that what they decided was kind of funny that I'm arguing about the muscles, and they kind of made that part of the campaign. That I'm not really happy because my biceps were bigger or whatever. So I think it's amazing technology how they can do that, and I'm sure in the future, you know, they can do anything. You don't even have to come to work; stay at home.
Absolutely. That's what it seems like it's planning out to be. And when it comes to your deepfake, it looks like Drago from the Rocky series. Now, when it comes to the whole Rocky universe, you know, you've been in Rocky 4 and then Creed 2, Creed 3 is filming right now. Would you like to see the whole Drago storyline with you and your son continue in other movies?
Yeah, why not? I mean, I think it should be the older Drago. I enjoyed playing him old, you know.
Oh yeah. And
the director Stephen Caple, who directed Creed 2, is a really smart guy, and he, you know, and I think somebody like him could sort of take it to another level. Why not?
Of course, yeah, that would be very fun to see. And speaking of Rocky 4, the director's cut came out just a few months ago, and it was pretty interesting to watch because there were a lot of scenes that weren't in the original film. So I don't know if you got a chance to watch the director's cut, but if so, what were your thoughts on it?
No, I did see it. Sly showed me some stuff when he was doing it, and I thought, you know, it reminded me more of the first Rocky. It was a little rough, a little rugged, a little more drama, a little darker than, you know, Rocky 4, the original, had that sort of 80s kind of glitz, larger than life to it, which I kind of like the original as well. I think they were both good. I mean, you know, when it came to my character, I think that in the recut, you kind of got to know him a little more as a person. In the original, he was more of, you know, like not even human, like kind of like a god of some sort. Mm-hmm. But now you kind of get to know him a little bit. That he was more of a kind of victim of the system, of the communist system, and all that. And I thought it was well done of Stallone to put that together.
When Rocky 4 first came out, did you realize how much of an impact that it would make now that it's been over 30 years?
No, I had no clue. I knew it was a big movie because my girlfriend at the time was in a Bond franchise. Grace Jones was in Bond franchise. Right. So I had been to that premiere and I knew that was big. But I think what happened with Rocky 4 is that not just did the film make a lot of money and it was a big hit, but, you know, the politics at the time, the Cold War that was going on. And then the film stylistically is very modern. Like when you watch the old Rocky 4, it's 40 years old, 35 years old, and it kind of holds up today. Whereas some movies from the 80s don't hold up and you can't really watch them. It's kind of, you know, they seem goofy, the lighting is all wrong or whatever, but that film holds up. And I think some movies become classics and some don't, you know, and that one, I guess, has become a classic. And I got to attribute it to Sly and his work on it, and a little bit, I guess, myself too.
Yeah, absolutely.
Quite a good villain.
Yeah, yeah, definitely a classic film. And another film that you're in that's actually coming up is Aquaman and the Lost Kingdom. You play King Nereus. So without really giving anything away, what can fans expect from this Aquaman sequel?
I'd say the script is better than the first one. I thought stronger, and cast is great. It's a tremendous film. It's just one of those, James Wan is a genius, that guy who directs it. I mean, not just does he create this incredible universe, underwater universe, but also, he's very good staying on the characters and the story. So I think that I look forward to seeing it myself, and I think it's just going to be a one of a kind movie. That's how I feel. It's just a tremendous, huge project.
Of course. And when it comes to your character, King Nereus, would you like to see him be part of his own spinoff series or his own sequels or movies as part of the DC Extended Universe?
No, it's okay. I'll stay next to Aquaman and Mera. No, I think enough's enough. I think he could stay with the others.
Yeah, definitely. I can see that. And another franchise you're part of is Expendables. Expendables 4 is slated to come out this year. How much bigger is this film compared to the previous three?
Well, it's definitely bigger. I mean, the budget is probably at least twice what the last one was, I think. It's a special sort of franchise because a lot of these, action franchises today are based on superheroes, and they're for young viewers. So there's no blood, nobody gets killed, people get banished to another universe. But in Expendables is old school. The guy, unfortunately, people get blown up and shot, and there's real fights and real stunts. So I think with that type of a approach, plus the fact we've got, Megan Fox is in it, 50 Cent is in it. Him and I actually have a lot of scenes together, and Andy Garcia. And there's some new blood, and I think, there's a certain excitement to it, like testosterone kind of driven excitement that hopefully people will, want to see.
Yeah. And how is it, and you mentioned the cast a little bit, how is it working with, an all-star cast with those guys you mentioned, Megan Fox, Andy Garcia, 50 Cent, and then obviously you have Sylvester Stallone, and Jason Statham, and Randy Couture. How is it like working with a cast like that?
Well, I've done 3 of them before. So
right.
It is special because you have all of these different personalities on set. Usually, in a big movie, you may have 3 or 4, leads. Like even in Aquaman, you got 4 maybe main characters, but here you have, half a dozen or almost 10. Some of them have been 10 people. And I think it's exciting because you're acting with anywhere you turn, there's somebody famous. So, so it's exciting as an actor, but I think it's that's what makes the franchise special. For me, I'm friends with Jason and Stallone, and I get to know, like I said, 50 and those other people, and they're all good people. And it's like an old school movie where you do a lot of your own stunts and you fire full blanks on set. There's not that much CGI in that picture.
Absolutely, man. One of the other things you're working on, this was announced a few months ago, is you're working on a documentary that's going to be called Dolph, I believe. It's just going to be talking about your life and your career. How's it coming along? Where are you in the process of developing that documentary?
Well, it's a Canadian company doing it.
Okay.
They've done a bunch of documentaries about different, actors and athletes, and it's kind of, I'd say it's about halfway done. They were in Europe shooting me during Expendables, Aquaman. They, interviewed friends of mine, Arnold, Stallone, my family, people Grace Jones. We're trying to track her down.
Okay.
And we were trying, it wasn't easy, but I ran into her in London actually. And people that have been there, throughout the years, and they've shot in Sweden, back where I grew up, and it's, for me, I think they probably have another few months of shooting left, but for me personally, it's been kind of interesting because you know, I look forward usually. I look into the future. I don't care about the past so much, but you know, when you're doing this documentary, you kind of revisit your own life and you start kind of appreciate what you've done more. Like, I appreciate a little more the decisions I made and the hardships I went through. You become a little kinder to yourself because you realize, yeah, it was a tough time, but it turned out okay so far. So, you know.
Absolutely. And last question for me before I let you go is, you mentioned you look towards the future, not really look past towards the past, but and obviously you got a lot going on with your commercials, with Expendables and Aquaman, but what is next for you? What other projects you have going on that you can talk about?
Well, yeah, I got these 3 movies coming out: Minions, Aquaman, and Expendables. And then I'm directing a smaller picture, an action thriller taking place on the Mexican border, U.S.-Mexican border, that I've had for 10 years, the script, but I'm in the process now of putting it together, and we're going to shoot New Mexico and California in April. So that's kind of my next thing I'm working on.
Awesome, man. That's great to hear. Dolph, that will be it for me. Thank you so much for your time. I really do appreciate it. Congrats on everything and continued success to you.
Thank you so much.